Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by. KCR-Mark here. So when it comes to engine swaps in Gran Turismo 7, there's certainly plenty to choose from. As of update 1.50, there's currently 111 swaps in total. I know a lot of people use them, I'm a big fan of them myself. Whenever a new update comes out, I always gravitate towards the engine swaps to see what's new. I think it's a really clever way to keep the offline game nice and fresh as well. In course of making these tuning videos for my YouTube channel, I've tried each and every swap. Some are absolutely amazing and transform the car completely. Some just make no sense and some are just downright bizarre. So in this series of YouTube videos, I'm going to be going through my top 10 engine swaps in the game. As we go through the list, we'll come across some engines that can be swapped into multiple cars. To make this list not only fairer but more concise, I'm just going to be choosing one car per engine. So stay tuned, you might come across some new engine swaps you didn't know existed. There's some that certainly don't get mentioned very often, and I don't think you're going to be able to predict number one. It's not what you're going to be expecting at all. So kicking off our list with the Alpine A110. Now the base car is a small little lightweight sports car with just over 200 brake horsepower. Into this you can swap the absolutely monstrous Nissan GT-R Nismo twin turbo engine. Fully upgraded, this is producing 1036 brake horsepower in this tiny little bathtub that weighs 983 kilograms. Now of course with these engine swaps the natural instinct is to immediately put as many performance parts on and get as much power out of it as you can. That's exactly what I do as well, but with the over 1000 brake horsepower, this car is just way too overpowered for the chassis. It's much more manageable and much nicer to drive with a detuned engine, around about 450 brake horsepower. The chassis can cope with it, the brakes aren't melting every time you get to the end of a straight, and it just leads to a really nice fast road car. As fun as this car is on the track, unfortunately the engine is not great for fuel economy, so it's not really suitable for any races where fuel is an issue, but a great track car nonetheless. So heading on to number 9 on my list of engine swaps, and for me this is probably the most interesting of all the engines on the list. The car of course is a fantastic E30 BMW M3. Into this you can fit an absolutely unique engine that fits no other car in the game. It's quite an unusual one, it's not one that you hear mentioned very often, it might not even be one that you're aware of, but it's fantastic nonetheless. The engine in question is from the Suzuki VGT Group 3 car. On paper a very peculiar engine swap, but it actually works tremendously well with the BMW and really suits it in my opinion. The engine is a 2.6 V8 twin turbo. It comprises of two Suzuki Hayabusa Superbike engines, somehow fused together with engineering sorcery, and it produces a very unique V8 engine. This thing is an absolute screamer. It revs out over 1300 RPM and just suits this car down to the ground. It reminds me a lot of the Group A BMW touring cars of the 90s from the British Touring Car Championship and the DTM days, and it just sounds absolutely phenomenal. So fully tuned, this engine can reach 789 brake horsepower. It's also a very unique car to drive. It's got no bottom end torque. It's all about the high RPM, so you have to really thrash it. And with this brilliant M3 chassis, which is really light and nimble, it's a fantastic car to drive. I really recommend it if you haven't given it a try already. So coming in at number 8 on my list, and this is an engine swap that can be performed on most of the Mitsubishi Evos in the game, all the way from the Evo 3 up to the more modern Evo 9. My personal favourite of all the swaps though is the Evo 5 GSR, a car I absolutely love. The engine is originally found in the Group B Evo Final Edition, a 2.2 litre turbo engine. This feels like a much more conventional engine swap. This car can be fully tuned again to 790 brake horsepower, but with that Group B engine it's very good on fuel as well, so it can be used for a multitude of different events in this game. I've tuned this to 600 pp for the Tokyo money grind. It's really good round Le Mans as well with that fuel saving capabilities. It can even perform well at the 800 pp races as well, so a great all-round engine swap. The Evo 5 chassis is probably one of the best four-wheel drive road cars in the game, and it just handles that extra power with no problem. Loads of traction with that four-wheel drive, incredibly agile, and can be very light, fully tuned up. It's an absolute beast around the track. So coming in at number 7 on my list, and this is a bit of a fan favourite, this is a fantastic Honda NSX Type R from 2002. Again, this is an engine swap that can be performed on many different cars, but in my opinion this is the best one. The engine in question is out of the Group 2 NSX concept from 2016. The Honda NSX as a base car is a fantastic handling car straight out of the box, but with this engine swap it transforms it into an absolute rocket ship. If you've used this car before, you know just how phenomenally quick it can be. This engine swap makes this car incredibly versatile. The very fuel efficient Group 2 engine is fantastic for any money grind events where fuel is an issue. I use this quite often for Le Mans money grind. I've done a video on it on my channel. Fully tuned, this car's capable of nearly 850 brake horsepower. It's just 870 kilograms, so it's incredibly light, and it just handles the power really well. It's just a fantastic car to drive. So that concludes part 1 of my top 10 engine swaps video. Many thanks for stopping by as always. If you want to join me for part 2, do a little like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's completely free, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.